Hey Suburban farmers, it's Michael Webb here. I'm back in the shop, so that means we're working on something today. Pruning shears. How to clean up and sharpen your pruning shears up next on your Suburban farm. Okay farmers, so first things first, I recommend, I've got these Corona pruning shears. I've got two pair of the same. I think I've had this one about 10 years and this one about 8. I keep them in this Felco, gosh, what do you call this? Just straps to my belt. I don't know what it's called. Link down in the description. But I don't go anywhere on the Suburban farm without them. This is always strapped to my belt, and a little clip here on the back, and I'm never without these. They're road hard. They're put up wet. They're beat up. And once a year I give them a really good overhaul and then kind of touch them up maybe once or twice a year during the year. But it's time for that overhaul. It's time for them to clean up. First things first, these are great because these come apart. Just real simple. Boy, I'm going to need to hit that with some WD-40. We'll be right back. Okay, so people ask me what I like about these Corona bypass shears. So again, it's a bypass shear. So that means there's really only one part, one blade to sharpen. This other side, it just cuts against, and it needs to be flat. You don't sharpen this, but we can run a hone across this and flatten this. The blade's going to run across that, and that's where the cutting action will be. But this is a replaceable blade. If it gets to a point where we need to replace it, we will. But I haven't replaced mine in like 10 years, so I think we're good to go. So again, it goes together like this. This is how it cuts, but this cutting blade comes off. What I like to do is just take this is an inexpensive honing stone. You can get them at Home Depot. There is a flat side and a sharp side, like the knife side. That's the knife side. The other side's the flat side. We don't sharpen the flat side, but we can flatten it. We can run it flat against this stone. We can add some water to it, which we should do, but just trying to show you the action, and just flatten out the one flat side, and then we can take the stone, we can take a Dremel tool, we can take a grinding wheel, and we can just put that bevel back on the sharpening side. We literally can just run the sharpening just like you're sharpening a kitchen knife. We can run that down, and we can put an edge back on that. You can just barely start to see the edge that I'm putting back on there. But all I'm doing is just running this sharpening stone, again, down here, just putting an edge back on here. And it's not rocket science. It doesn't take a whole lot. And then I like to kind of oil the whole thing down. Again, WD-40 or a general household oil is fine to kind of prevent the rust, to keep it clean. I do like to go over the whole thing with a wire brush just to clean it up. The WD-40 is also good for cutting any sap that might be on it and keeping the tool generally clean and well functioned. And that's it. It doesn't need that much. I will say that I do oil down this little holster about once a year. Again, I've had this, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years. It's held up pretty well, and I'm not kind to these. I'm really not kind. They've been known to be left out in the rain. I always have, next to my garden, I have one of my shears. I've got a couple of sets. I always have one that's out in the garden. It's out there all the time. The other one comes in the shop, and but there's always one hanging up in the garden in all types of weather. Now granted, I live in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area. We don't get a whole lot of rain, but we do get some, and it does get rained on, and I probably should take better care of them. But what's more important to me is that I don't have to go looking for them. I like having a pair of gardening shears in the garden all the time. That way I don't have to ever make an extra trip. Sometimes you always need one. So here I have, you can see I've put a little, see the shiny side right there? I've put just a little bit of a light edge on it. It's not too sharp. And that's really all that it needs. Put it back together and you're good to go. Again, light coat of oil, and it'll last you again for another year before it comes back in the shop and gets dismantled and put together. So here we are, another time, again, Corona shears, which I love. Awesome tool. And the Felco holster, this is the 910, fits great inside there. You won't find me without these descriptions down below. Click on the affiliate link if you're interested for more information on the Corona shears or the Feldco holster. Congrats again on you and taking on this in your suburban garden. And from Michael Webb and my suburban garden to you and your suburban garden, happy gardening. Talk to you soon. That's sharp.